Hello everyone, welcome to Care Launcher. So we are back with our next arithmetic session, and we have been doing times with distance for the last couple of sessions, and we have looked at questions related to the different sub concepts of this topic, times with distance, right? Starting from average speed, relative speed, uh, right? Ratio and variation concept based questions, race problems, etc. So today, that is our agenda to look at questions pertaining to boats and streams and escalators. Now, this is again a set of concepts in which in both these, the concepts are quite similar, right? In the concepts of boats and streams and escalators, because in both of them, right, you are either moving with the flow or against the flow, right? So that concept is central to both of them. Means you're in a boat, so either you're moving with the flow of the current, river current, or against it. Again, on the escalator, you're either moving with the escalator or against it. We know that in actual life, moving against the escalator is uh, you know something that you won't do in a actual situation, but uh, we'll see questions related to that as well, right? Okay, so therefore let's see, let's look at the questions. Let's start, people. As always, we'll be looking at some questions that I have brought, plus then we'll be looking at some previous year questions as well, right? Let's start. Here's the first one. All right, let's see. A boat completes a journey from A to B and back in 4.5 hours. A floating piece of wood takes 6 hours to cover the distance from A to B. What is the ratio of the speed of boat in still water to that of the river current? Okay, so nowhere is it mentioned that A to B, B to A, which journey is upstream, which journey is downstream. So that is obviously uh, implicitly defined from the second statement, that a floating post piece of wood takes 6 hours to cover the distance from A to B. So if a piece of wood is floating, obviously it would flow with the flow of the river current. So means A to B is the direction in which the river is flowing. So the downstream this direction is from A to B, and B to A is upstream. Right? Downstream means going with the flow of the river. Upstream means going against. Right? So now, clearly, we just have to frame the equations for the given situation and solve, right? Clearly, we have to take the speed of the boat and that of the river current as the variables. Let's take them as B and R for boat and river, right? So, A to B is downstream. So, the speed while going from A to B will be boat plus river, and while coming back it is upstream, so the river will oppose the boat, so boat minus river, that will be the net speed. uh, Boat completes the back and forth journey in 4.5 hours, so our equation becomes, okay, we also don't know the distance, remember, right? Let's write the equation first for the floating piece of wood, right? Because for the floating piece of wood, the only speed that works is the river current. So some distance, let's say this distance from A to B is some distance D. Okay, so that for the floating piece of wood, distance is speed into time. The speed of the floating piece of wood is the speed of the river current itself into the time of 6 hours. So distance we can therefore define in terms of our variables, that we have taken. So the distance from A to B simply becomes 6 hour. So that now we can use this in the subsequent equation for the back and forth journey of the boat, right? So this distance first covered, so we write the equation for the total time. For the distance from A to B, time taken will be distance by speed. Speed is boat plus river, plus now distance D, the same distance D, right? And now the stream is the upstream speed, boat minus river, and that total time is 4.5 hours, or 9/2. Now we can replace for D as 6 hour from the above, and we can just rewrite this equation. 6 hour over B plus R, 6 hour over B minus R is 9/2. Okay, so simplify now. I think we should get a quadratic equation now for sure, right? So LCM over here is b plus r into b minus r. So b square minus r square. 6r is there in the numerator, and then when adding, what we'll get in the numerator is b minus r plus b plus r. So that makes it 2b, and that equals 9 over 2. 3 can be cancelled on both the sides, and now so 3 into b square minus r square, so 3b square minus 3r square is 2228 into br, right? So we have to find basically the b is to r ratio, right? So from here we'll get that ratio. We have 3b square minus 8br minus 3r square is 0. Clearly it can be factorized easily as uh, 3b minus r and b plus 3r. Is that correct? No, sorry, it's the other way around. 3b plus r and b minus 3r. This is minus sign, right? So yeah, 3b square and yeah, minus 9br plus, yeah, right? Okay, so therefore obviously b is 3r, and therefore the required ratio is 3:1, right? Okay, so we had to just create the equations over here, well, because the total time was given, so we had to write the equation for the total time because the speeds are different in the back and forth uh, journey. So therefore, write a usual question on boats and streams. Perfect. So remember the agenda that we have. We'll be looking at questions on escalators as well as boats and streams. Let's see the next one. A boat goes 75 kilometers upstream and returns downstream in a total of 8 hours, while the speed of the river stream was 5 kilometers per hour. Boat's speed is not given. That is what we can try to find from this information clearly. What would be the total time taken for the round trip journey if the river stream doubled its speed? So clearly, from the upfront information, we know the distance, we know the river current speed is 5, we know the roll time, we don't know the speed of the boat. I think we should be able to find that. Again, just like for the previous question here, we'll again write the equation for the total time. Let's take x as the speed of the boat. So distance covered is 75, both upstream and downstream. So time going upstream will be 75 over x minus 5, difference of the speeds, and downstream sum of speeds, distance is still 75, so 75 over x plus 5, and this total time should be equal to 8. Again we'll get into a quadratic over here, so either we can solve that or we can do a little bit hit and trial itself over here, in the sense that I sense that we need two factors of 75 which need to differ by 10, right? These two numbers differ by 10, and 15, 25 come to my mind easily, right? So indeed, if you take x to be 20, right, then 75 over 15 would be 5, and 75 over 25 would be 3. That would work out. So clearly, little observation helps us to just clearly find that x is 20 for sure. You can obviously usually solve it, but I'm saying mostly, this, I mean, if you have a little bit sense of, okay, can I do number fitting, can I do hit and trial, little bit, with quadratic, you can save a lot of time. जैसे आपने पिछले क्वेश्चन में देखा हमने कितना टाइम लिया उस इक्वेशन को थोड़ा सा वर्क करने में, राइट? तो द पॉइंट इज कि when the solution is not an integer, you have to properly solve the quadratic, no two ways about that. But in case there's an integer solution that can work out, maybe a little bit hidden trial approach helps, right? तो छोटे छोटे चीजें हैं, इन्हीं से हमारा टाइम सेव होता है, right? So therefore, the question is, I mean, the main thing is now done. We have got the speed of the boat. This is the speed of the boat, and therefore now speed of the boat is 20, and speed of the river current will double from 5 to 10 now, right? The river stream will speed will be now 10 kilometers per hour, right? So now for the same distance, for the same round trip journey, the new time is what we have to find. So just adjust for the speeds. Distance is still 75. So coming upstream, right, the time will be, the speed will be 20 minus 10, and then downstream it will be 20 plus 10. So therefore 75 over 10, this will be 7.5, 7.5 hours, and 75 over 20, 30, that would be 2.5, 30 into 2.5, 75, right? So 7.5 and 2.5 hours, so total of 10-hour journey it would become. The time would slightly increase from 8 to 10. All right, perfect, right? So I hope that we are now right, getting familiar with how to approach these questions, right? Where to take the variable, how to create the equation, everything, right? चलिए और देखते हैं. So our other agenda is escalator questions to hand get hold of, how to handle questions on escalators. Let's see. An escalator is moving upward. A person A walks up, so he is moving with the escalator and takes 20 steps in 10 seconds to reach the top. So the steps that he takes is given. Remember, this is not the steps of the escalator. This is the steps that he takes. The escalator will also be pushing him forward, right? And the escalator will also move some steps that will get added to the total journey of the person. And he is taking 10 seconds to reach the top. Person B walks down the same escalator and takes 40 steps in 15 seconds to reach the bottom. Person B will need to obviously work a little bit more, right? He'll need to run fast. He'll taking more steps than there are on the escalator because he's moving against the escalator, right? So the thing is that when you're moving with the escalator, your total steps taken are the sum of the steps that you take and the steps that escalator pushes you forward, the sum. Whereas going against the escalator, the total steps of the escalator are covered in the form of difference of the steps taken by the person, and that thrown back, you know by the escalator. So just like upstream downstream, here also a similar concept applies. How do you deal with the question? You have to find how many steps are there on the escalator. Let's say there are n steps on the escalator. It's a single line answer. Just, follow this. Very simple. This n is equal for the two persons, right? The both of them are on the same escalator, and therefore for the first person, these total steps will be covered collectively by the person and by the escalator. The person has taken, for person A, he has taken 20 steps plus some steps that escalator will push him forward. So since he has a journey of 10 seconds, so let's say E is the speed of the escalator in terms of steps per second. So in 10 seconds, the escalator will push this person ahead by 10 E steps, right? And we can also equate the same number of steps for the person B, right? For person B, he has taken 40 steps and he will be pushed behind by the escalator uh, by 15e. His journey lasted 15 seconds, so 40 minus 15e, right? So that is the concept. For person moving with the escalator, it is the sum of the steps taken by the person and those moved by the escalator. For the person who is moving against, it is the difference. So I think you can clearly understand, we can easily solve over here for both n and e. Right, first solving this equation, 15 plus 10, 25e, we are getting as 40 minus 20, 20. So we're getting 5 cancels on other sides. We are getting 5e to be 4. We need the value of 10e to insert, let's say, over here. So 5e is 4 or 10e is 8. So basically the person A, 8 steps are taken by the escalator for him. So therefore n is 20 plus 8, 28 steps. Right. So this is a question on finding the steps of the escalator using the two persons journey. Perfect. कुछ भी पूछना है तो पूछ लीजिएगा. Anything I can clarify again. I hope it is perfectly fine. Let me know. We can move ahead. Yes. चलिए एक और escalator का क्वेश्चन देखते हैं. Let's see. थोड़ा सा और प्रैक्टिस हो जाएगी. Now, what's there? An escalator moves downward at a constant speed. Okay, escalator is going down. A person walks down and reaches the bottom in 15 seconds. Perfect. if he walks up the same escalator at the same speed, when if he is walking up, he is moving against the escalator, right? He takes 25 seconds to reach the top at the same speed. If he is moving, he takes 25 seconds. How long will another person take to reach the bottom if he walks down at twice the speed of the first person? Okay. You see, in this question, unlike the previous one where some data of steps was given, here nothing is given regarding that. Whenever that is the case, you know what is the most appropriate approach? Assume the number of steps of the escalator. In the previous question, number of steps of escalator were to be found. So उसको हम assume नहीं कर सकते थे, उसी को तो find करना था. But in this question, everything is of time 15, 25 seconds. We have to find another time. So in all such questions of accelerators, where you don't see any data about number of steps, you can always start by assuming the total number of steps of the escalator as the common multiple of all the time periods that you see in the question, right? थोड़ा सा जैसे वर्क एंड टाइम में नहीं करते हैं, वर्क को एज्यूम करते हैं एज एलसीएम, वही चीज, राइट? तो 15, 25, आई थिंक 20, 75 we can assume as the common multiple. Let's say, therefore, let's assume therefore that the escalator total number of steps are 75. Now, so therefore we can write the equation for the speed, right? For the person who initially when he is walking with the escalator downwards, so his effective speed will be his own speed and that of the escalator. Let's say the person's speed is p and plus e for the escalator's speed. P for person speed, e for escalator speed. His net speed p plus e is, speed is distance by time, distance covered is the 75 steps that we have assumed divided by the time, that is 15. So p plus e we are getting as 5 steps per second. The another equation that we'll write, in that case his net speed will be the difference of his own speed and that of the escalator. Clearly his own speed p has to be more than e, नहीं तो वो तो गिर जाएगा, लुढ़क जाएगा, right? So obviously his own speed p has to be more than e, so p minus e is his net speed, and again that is 75 divided by the time taken 25, which is 3. So very simple equations to solve here. P plus e is 5, p minus e is 3. Adding them, 2p is 8. So we're getting p as 4, and then so 4 plus 1 is 5, so e is 1. Right, so that's by our assumption over here, we get these speeds, right? This is our assumption that we made of the total number of steps of the escalator. Accordingly, हमारी ये speed आ गई. अब हम क्वेश्चन को अब आगे सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. How long will another person take if he walks down? So walking down means again moving with the escalator at twice the speed of the first person. Speed of the first person was 4. So for this person, his speed, this person's new speed is twice of 4, 8 steps per second. Escalator's speed is obviously unchanged if nothing is mentioned. So therefore, his effective speed will be, p plus e, the new speed. So that is 8 plus 1, 9. So therefore, that is the new speed of this person, right? And therefore, the time that he will take will be the distance 75 steps divided by his speed of 9 steps per second. 75 by 9 or 25 by 3, which is 8 1/3 of a second, right? So did you see the process, right? This question was slightly different than the previous one, right? तो पिछले क्वेश्चन में कैसे मैंने इक्वेशन को यूज किया वो क्लियर है, और इस क्वेश्चन में हमने कैसे एज्यूम करके हमने आगे प्रोसीड किया वो क्लियर है, राइट? तो ये दोनों क्वेश्चंस की अप्रोच आई थिंक आपको क्लियर है. इसी तरह के ही क्वेश्चंस हमारे एस्केलेटर्स के बनते हैं, राइट? चलिए, तो so we have got some framework right in our mind how to approach. अब थोड़े से प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस पर आ जाते हैं, ठीक है? आई होप यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग विद मी, और अभी तक नहीं कर रहे हो तो अब करना शुरू कर दो, बिकॉज वी हैव गॉट सम मोमेंटम गोइंग. सो देखते हैं नेक्स्ट वन. चलिए, इसी साल का कैट 25 का क्वेश्चन है ये, देखते हैं. राइट, सो बोट्स का लग रहा है. रीता एंड स्नेहा कैन रो अ बोट एट 5 and 6 kilometers per hour in still water respectively. ठीक है, दो लोगों की स्पीड दे दी है डायरेक्टली रोइंग की, राइट? In a river flowing with a constant velocity, Sneha takes 48 minutes more to row 14 kilometers upstream than to row the same distance downstream. Difference of time taken is given for upstream and downstream motion. For right, 14 किलोमीटर डिस्टेंस। इस पूरे सिनेरियो में मुझे क्या चीज़ मिसिंग लग रही है? सबसे पहले मुझे लोगों की स्पीड पता है, दोनों, देयर बोट स्पीड, डिस्टेंस पता है, डिफरेंस ऑफ टाइम पता है, स्पीड ऑफ रिवर करंट नहीं समझ में आ रहा है। तो आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाट वी हैव टू ऑब्टेन perhaps. Now, question इसके आगे स्टार्ट होता है, if Rita starts from a certain location on the river and returns downstream, taking a total of 100 meters, then the distance. So clearly, to solve that, I first need the speed of the river current, which I think I should be able to get from, मैं ये 48 मिनट्स जो टाइम डिफरेंस है उसके ऊपर इक्वेशन लिखूंगा, यही करेंगे, राइट? तो बस लेट्स राइट द इक्वेशन फॉर द डिफरेंस ऑफ द टाइम. Distance is 14 kilometers. So upstream time minus downstream time. Time upstream minus time going downstream for Sneha is 48 minutes, which is 48 by 60, which because we are working everything in kilometers and hours clearly. So this is 4/5 of an hour. Upstream time will be distance by speed. Distance is 14. Speed will be स्नेहा की अपनी रोइंग स्पीड है 6, सो 6 minus x, right? And for our downstream it will be 6 plus x, right? So 14 over 6 plus x, this should be 4 over 5. आई एम नॉट श्योर कि इसमें कुछ नंबर फिटिंग वर्क कर पाएगा कि नहीं, बिकॉज राइट साइड में मुझे फ्रैक्शन दिख रहा है, राइट? थोड़ा सा हिडन ट्राई करें, बिकॉज यहाँ 5 चाहिए, मुझे यहाँ 6 माइनस एक्स दिख रहा है. मुझे डेफिनेटली लग रहा है इन दोनों में से कोई एक नंबर 5 हो जाना चाहिए, या तो 6 प्लस एक्स 5 हो जाए, वो हो नहीं सकता, राइट? 6 माइनस एक्स 5 हो जाए तो x 1 होना चाहिए. थोड़ा सा हिट इंटरवल करते हैं, अगर x क्या x इक्वल टू 1 वर्क कर रहा है, 14 ओवर 5, 14 ओवर 6 माइनस 1, मैंने x को 1 एज्यूम किया है ताकि ये 5 हो जाए, ओवर माइनस 14 ओवर 7, ये इंटीजर हो जाएगा, ये 14 बाय 5 है, ये 2 हो जाएगा, 14 बाय 5 माइनस 2, यस 4 बाय 5 वर्क कर गया. तो मेरे हिडन ट्रायल अप्रोच इस बार भी काम में आ गई, ठीक है. बाद वरना आप नॉर्मली ऑब्वियसली क्वाड्रेटिक बनाएंगे तो निकाल सकते हैं. माय पॉइंट इज कि जस्ट वंस और ट्वाइस ट्राई हिडन ट्रायल, इफ इट वर्क्स फाइन, एल्स प्रोसीड अहेड टू सॉल्व द क्वाड्रेटिक, ठीक है. मैंने दोनों ही टाइम अवॉइड कर लिया, ठीक है. सो आप मुझ पर इल्जाम लगा सकते हैं कि मुझे आंसर पहले से पता है, वो शायद right, but the point is I'm trying to show you that how this technique can work out. So x is 1, so x is our speed of the river current, which we can now solve, which we can now use further for Rita's scenario. तो मुझे रीता का total distance चाहिए. She is also moving a certain same distance upstream and downstream, और total time दिया हुआ है, right? So she is moving the same distance because she is returning downstream. So let's say the back and forth distance is d. So d over उसकी स्पीड, अब मुझे दोनों पता है, उसकी खुद की स्पीड रीता की 5 है, तो 5 माइनस 1 4 विल बी हर स्पीड अपस्ट्रीम, प्लस डी ओवर 5 प्लस 1 6 kilometers per hour will be her downstream speed, and this total time is 100 minutes, which is 100 by 60 hours, which is 5 by 3 hours. So यहाँ से d निकल जाएगा, so LCM is 12, 4 and 6 12, 3 plus 2 5 by 12 of d is 5 by 3, 5 cancels, 12 3 12 by 3, so d is 4. But remember, d is the distance from one end to the other, but she is doing a back and forth between some point a and b, right? So therefore 4 on each side. So remember, the question is asking the total distance Rita will cover, which is 4 and 4 8. एक अभी भी मिस्टेक होने का चांस है कि अच्छा d4 हो गया, चलो आंसर में 4 हो गया right? Don't forget that it is back and forth, right? ठीक है. So presence of mind आखिर तक चाहिए होती है, right? Never forget what the question is asking. ठीक है, चलिए, किसी ने मुझे जवाब नहीं दिया इस क्वेश्चन का, आप दे सकते थे, बिल्कुल डुएबल क्वेश्चन था ये, सुनो. चलिए, आपको मौका और भी मिलेगा. देखिए नेक्स्ट वाला आपसे हो रहा है, एस्केलेटर का क्वेश्चन है, देखते हैं. श्यामा एंड व्योम वॉक अप एन एस्केलेटर मूविंग स्टेयरवे. एक्चुअली 2001 का क्वेश्चन है, तो सब कुछ बहुत डिटेल में लिखा हुआ है. एस्केलेटर क्या होता है हमें सबको पता है, बट क्लियरली एक्सप्लेन किया हुआ है. तो द एस्केलेटर मूव्स एट अ कांस्टेंट स्पीड, ठीक है. श्यामा टेक्स 3 स्टेप्स फॉर एवरी 2 ऑफ व्योम स्टेप्स. यहाँ पर मुझे 2 लोगों के स्पीड की रेशो मिल रही है, उनकी अपनी वॉकिंग स्पीड की, राइट. 3 steps for every 2 steps means simply the ratio of speed is 3:2. रिमेंबर एस्केलेटर के क्वेश्चन में जो स्पीड होती है ना वो मीटर्स पर सेकंड किलोमीटर्स पर आवर में नहीं होती है, वो स्टेप्स पर सेकंड में होती है, कि यहाँ पर डिस्टेंस जो होता है वो स्टेप्स होते हैं, राइट. तो लेट्स से 3:2 is the ratio, so therefore let's say Shyama's speed is 3x in terms of steps per second, and for Vyom it is, let's say, 2x, right. Shyama gets to the top of the escalator after having taken 25 steps, right. While Vyom, because his slower pace lets the escalator do a little more of the work, takes only 20 steps to reach the top. Okay. So basically, both of them are covering the escalator, because the first person is faster, he will cover more steps. The second person will take lesser steps, 25 and 20. If the escalator were turned off, how many steps would they have to take to walk up? Simply, he is asking for the number of steps of the escalator, right? कि एस्केलेटर खड़ा हुआ है तो उस पर स्टेप्स कितने आपको चढ़ने पड़ेंगे, जितने स्टेप्स ऑफ एस्केलेटर दिख रहे हैं, राइट. ओके, सो नाउ again, just like the first question that we done on escalator, here also the number of steps n, let's say, for both the persons is the same, right. And as such कुछ directly लिखा तो नहीं हुआ है, but if nothing is mentioned, you will always assume that they are both moving with the escalator, right. Shama and Wo walk up an escalator, right. uh, so we'll assume that it is that the escalator is also moving up, right. That has to be always the common assumption. Now what we know again, that दोनों लोगों ने respectively steps कितने लिए वो पता है. So this, for both of them, it will be the sum of the steps taken by the person and the steps moved by the escalator. अब यहाँ पर steps moved by the escalator को लिखेंगे कैसे, ये थोड़ा सा ध्यान से देखो, क्योंकि यहाँ पर पिछला मैंने जो पहला क्वेश्चन लिया था उसमें टाइम ऑफ जर्नी ऑफ द पर्सन गिवन था, तो मैंने टाइम ऑफ द जर्नी इनटू एस्केलेटर स्पीड ऐसे करके मैंने एस्केलेटर के स्टेप्स को डिफाइन किया था. इस केस में टाइम ऑफ जर्नी डायरेक्टली दी नहीं हुई है, बट वी कैन डिफाइन इट because of 25 steps is given that the person that Shama has taken. So Shama's speed we have assumed as 3x. So what is the time of journey? Time is distance by speed. Distance is 25 steps. Speed is 3x. So can I say that time of the journey for Shama is 25 by 3x. So this becomes the time of the journey 25 by 3x into the escalator's speed. Let's say E. Let's say E is the speed of the escalator. That is the number of steps that the escalator will push forward for Shama, right? So just like that question again, here we'll create the equality of the number of steps for both the persons. For Vyom, he has taken 20 steps, and likewise, in a very similar manner, plus escalator steps will be time of the journey 20 by 2x. Remember, 2x is the speed of Vyom. This time of the journey for Vyom into the escalator speed. अब यहाँ पर वेरिएबल्स आपको ज्यादा दिख रहे हैं क्योंकि राइट हैंड साइड में x भी है e भी है. डोंट वरी, आपको x और e को सॉल्व नहीं करना है, दोनों तरफ आपको e बाय x फ्रैक्शन दिख रही है, आपको उस e बाय x फ्रैक्शन को सॉल्व करना है बस. I don't worry about the number of variables that have been created. It's very simple, right? It's very simple. So 25 minus 25 equals, this is 10 e by x, 20 by 2, 10 e by x, and this comes here 10 minus 25 by 3 times e by x, right? And this 20 goes over there, so equals 25 minus 20, which is 5. This is 10 3 is 30 minus 25, which is 5 by 3 of e by x is 5. 5 cancels, so e by x is 3. Put this back over here, e by x is 3, or you can simply say e over 3x, this thing is 1. So n is 25 plus 25, 50. Done. Right. So don't worry about the variables, take them, create the equation. The only concept that always works in escalator questions is steps of the escalator are always the same, because किसी भी क्वेश्चन में escalator में एक ही escalator होता है, कभी भी I mean I have not seen questions where are two different escalators are there, right? A same escalator, two persons are moving, so the distance is same, so you write the equation for distance being the same. Perfect. So I think this approach we have clearly understood, right? और देखते हैं Next, see, next one. Okay, good. Cat 22, another question on escalator. देखिए, सो अच्छा, इस भी क्वेश्चन में ना जैसे मैंने कहा था कि सिर्फ टाइम दिया हुआ है 30 20, और फिर कुछ टाइम ही पूछा है, देन द टाइम टेकन टू नीडेड टू फिनिश राइटिंग। तो मैंने कहा था कि ऐसे क्वेश्चन में सिंपली आप एक काम करो, नंबर ऑफ स्टेप्स ले लो, 30 20 दिख रहा है, आप नंबर ऑफ स्टेप्स ऑफ एस्केलेटर ले लो 60 स्टेप्स, राइट। और अब आप इक्वेशंस क्रिएट कर लो। Moody takes 30 seconds to finish riding an escalator if he walks on it at his normal speed in the same direction. इसमें clearly mention है he is moving in the same direction, मतलब with the escalator, right? He takes 20 seconds to finish riding the escalator if he walks at twice his normal speed in the same direction. ठीक है. So let's say Moody's speed is m steps per second, Moody, and escalator speed is e steps per second. Initially, when his normal speed is there m, so his effective speed m plus e is equal to distance by speed is distance by time. Distance is 60 steps covered in 30 seconds. So 60 by 32, first equation. Second equation में उसकी speed 2m, उसकी speed twice हो जाएगी, right? If he walks at twice his normal speed. So 2m is revised speed plus the escalator speed, right? This is his new speed, equals again distance by time 60 by 20, 3 steps per second. Second equation. Therefore, very simply subtract them. 2m minus m, m is 1, 3 minus 2, m is 1, e is also 1. Very simple, बहुत ही simple numbers आ रहे हैं, right? 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. Now if Moody decides to stand still, मतलब उसकी अपनी स्पीड जीरो हो गई, अब वो कह रहा है मैं नहीं चलूंगा भाई एस्केलेटर, तुम चलाओ मुझे, तो his effective speed only will be that of the escalator, which is 1 step per second, and the steps are 60. तो कितना टाइम लग जाएगा? 60 सेकंड लग जाएंगे, और क्या, सिंपल। क्या 22 का क्वेश्चन है, राइट? आई वुड कॉल इट वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन if you know the basics, right? Perfect. So I hope that we are very comfortable now, right, with these questions. चलिए एक और देखते हैं, बात आती है नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पर। लेट्स सी। ओके, क्या 23 क्वेश्चन, ऑप्शंस में बहुत सारे स्क्वायर रूट्स हैं, देखते हैं कैसे करना है। क्वेश्चन बोर्ड्स का लग रहा है। लेट्स सी, लेट्स रीड द क्वेश्चन केयरफुली व्हाट इट इज सेइंग। A boat takes 2 hours to travel downstream a river from port A to port B. So A to B is where the river is flowing, it's downstream. A boat takes 2 hours downstream and 3 hours to return to port A. Okay, fine. Respective timing given है, ठीक है, very good. Another boat takes a total of 6 hours to travel from port B to port A. पहले वो upstream आ रही है, right, and return to port B. If the speeds of the boats and the river are constant, ठीक है, then the time in hours taken by the slower boat to travel from port A to port B, जब वो डाउनस्ट्रीम जा रही होगी तब उसका टाइम पूछा हुआ है, ठीक है। देखो भाई, ऐसा है कि ऐसा किसी की स्पीड गिवन नहीं है, कुछ भी है ना, एवरीथिंग इज इन टर्म्स ऑफ टाइम गिवन, 2 hours 3 hours 6 hours, दैट्स ऑल। एंड क्वेश्चन भी टाइम पूछ रहा है, तो क्या करें, स्पीड को वेरिएबल लेंगे, उसके ऊपर इक्वेशंस बनाएंगे, राइट। तो लेट्स डू दैट। फॉर द फर्स्ट सिनेरियो, फॉर द सो द टू डिफरेंट बोट्स, फॉर द फर्स्ट बोट उसकी अपनी स्पीड को अगर हम x ले लें, रिवर की स्पीड को y ले लें, राइट। या एक काम करते हैं, x इज द स्पीड ऑफ द, जस्ट अ सेकेंड, x इज द स्पीड ऑफ द फर्स्ट बोट, राइट। एंड लेट्स से r, मुझे r याद रहेगा, इज द स्पीड ऑफ द रिवर, राइट। सो फॉर द फर्स्ट बोट, and moreover the distance, right, the other most obviously most important parameter is the distance from port A to port B. Let's say that distance is d, right. So for the first motion, I mean here for the first boat it is the respective time is given, so we'll simply write key for the downstream distance is speed in time, speed will be x plus r, sorry, uh, x plus r into time taken was 2 hours. अच्छा, यही डिस्टेंस आपका अपस्ट्रीम में है इक्वल टू, दिस इज ऑल्सो इक्वल टू, जब वो वापस आ रही है बोट तो उसकी इफेक्टिव स्पीड इज एक्स माइनस आर इंटू अब टाइम लग रहा है 3 आवर्स। ठीक है, सो आई थिंक दैट्स द इक्वेशन। क्लियरली आई थिंक वी कैन get the ratio of x and r from here. So I'm getting 2x plus 2r equals 3x minus 3r. So I'm getting 3x minus 2x, x equals 2r plus 3r 5r. ठीक है, now how does this help me? आई एम गेटिंग एक्स एस 5 आर। देखो मुझे मेरा ऑब्जेक्टिव एक्स और आर की वैल्यू को यूनिकली तो मैं सॉल्व क्लियरली नहीं कर सकता हूँ क्योंकि डिस्टेंस नहीं पता है, स्पीड नहीं, मतलब द पॉइंट इज नाइदर यू नो द डिस्टेंस नॉर यू नो द स्पीड, सो यू कैन ओनली रिड्यूस योर वेरिएबल्स। तो व्हाट यू कैन डू, यू कैन रिप्लेस एक्स एज 5 आर above and get a expression for the distance d in terms of only one variable. I think that is the point. So coming back to the first equation, d is x plus r into 2. So 5r plus r 6r into 2. तो आप डिस्टेंस को 12r डिफाइन कर सकते हैं। दैट्स द आई थिंक कंक्लूजन फ्रॉम दिस, बिकॉज यही डिस्टेंस अब आपका सेकंड केस में आप निकलेगा। अब यहाँ पर आप सम ऑफ टाइम के ऊपर इक्वेशन लिखेंगे, राइट? यहाँ पर आपको, अब आपको दिया हुआ है टोटल टाइम इज टेकन 6 आवर्स, यू हैव टू फाइंड दैट, so you have to split that 6 hours into the two parts and you have to find the downstream time, right? That's what the options are. कुछ मुझे लग रहा है कि क्वाड्रेटिक बनेगी, वी हैव सीन दैट अर्लियर की क्वाड्रेटिक बनती थी, रिमेंबर? हमने जब क्वाड्रेटिक को कभी भी सॉल्व नहीं किया, हमने हिडन टेरर से कर लिया, लग रहा है कि इस बार प्रॉपर्ली सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि स्क्वायर रूट उसी से आ रहा होगा। तो लेट्स क्विकली नाउ राइट द इक्वेशन फॉर द टोटल टाइम ऑफ द सेकंड बोट। लेट्स से ये हमारी पहली बोट थी, फर्स्ट बोट, इनिशियल बोट। लेट्स से द सेकंड बोट, y इज द स्पीड ऑफ द सेकेंड बोर्ड जिसके ऊपर हमें अब इक्वेशन लिखनी है। तो डिस्टेंस d मैं डायरेक्टली लिख रहा हूँ 12r, डिस्टेंस d 12r डिवाइडेड बाय, पहले वो बोर्ड B2A जा रही है, अपस्ट्रीम जा रही है, आप किसी भी ऑर्डर में लिख लें उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, टोटल टाइम की इक्वेशन लिखनी है। y माइनस r प्लस डिस्टेंस इज 2r अपॉन डाउनस्ट्रीम y प्लस r। मुझे यही एक्सप्रेशन की वैल्यू चाहिए एंड दिस टोटल थिंग इज इक्वल टू 6 आवर्स। ओके, सो क्लियरली यहाँ पर दो वेरिएबल्स हैं, एक वेरिएबल को दूसरे के टर्म्स में निकालना है और फिर उससे निकल जाना चाहिए, राइट? सो क्विकली सॉल्व दिस। 6 will cancel on both the sides. I'll have 2r as the numerator over here. I'll cancel 6 and denominator will be y plus r minus y minus r, so y square minus r square. 2r will remain, इधर मैंने 1 रख लिया है, 6 कैंसिल कर लिया है, 2r will remain into y plus r plus y minus r 2y, ठीक है? Okay, so y square minus r square equals 4ry, or simply my quadratic is becoming y square minus 4ry minus r square is 0. Right, so therefore आप यहाँ पर divide by r square कर लें, आप y by r में quadratic लिख लें, so divide by r square करके can we say right कि अगर मैं y by r को m बोल दूं, राइट, और यहाँ पर आर स्क्वायर से डिवाइड कर लूँ तो आई गेट द क्वाड्रेटिक दैट m स्क्वायर माइनस 4m माइनस 1 इज 0, राइट? इफ आई डिवाइड विद आर स्क्वायर, सो y स्क्वायर बाय आर स्क्वायर माइनस 4y बाय r माइनस 1 is 0, so right, so therefore m is our formula minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So 4 plus minus under root 4 square minus 4 into minus 1, so plus 4 divided by 2a, a is 1, so 2. This is root 20 which is 2 root 5, so 4 plus minus 2 root 5 by 2, 2 कट जाएगा, so we are left with 2 plus minus root 5, clearly minus तो लेंगे नहीं, plus ही लेंगे। Perfect, so this is done. हमें इसकी वैल्यू चाहिए 12r over y plus r and we have got that. Basically let me clear the left hand side, I think let me do that, right? मुझे यहाँ पर भी थोड़ी सी वर्किंग करनी है, so right, so now what we can do, we are therefore getting that y by r is 2 plus root 5 or y equals 2 plus root 5 times m times r, the reverse speed, right? So therefore we need the value of this now, just replace y as 2 plus root 5 r. So your downstream time for the second boat, that is what you need, remember, from a to b, is 12r over y plus r. So 2 plus root 5 r plus r, that will be 3 plus root 5 times r. Clearly you can see this r gets cancelled off. तो हमने चाहे भी तीन वेरिएबल लिए, अल्टीमेटली हमारा टाइम तो आ ही गया, वो वेरिएबल हटना तो था ही, राइट? सो दैट इज आवर आंसर. जस्ट रैशनलाइज सिंपली एंड फिनिश दिस. 3 - √5 एक ही ऑप्शन में है, वही आंसर होना चाहिए. क्लियरली रैशनलाइज करके ऑप्शन बी डी दिख रहा है और क्लियरली समझ में आ रहा है. दिस डिनोमिनेटर विल बी 9 - 5 4, 4 कट जाएगा, 12/4 3, 3 into 3 - √5. यस, ऑप्शन डी. Right, so therefore we have handled boots and streams and escalators, right? And we have got enough practice and food for thought and clarity on the स्टाइल ऑफ क्वेश्चंस एंड द टेक्निक रिक्वायर्ड, राइट? थोड़ा सा क्वेश्चंस मैथमेटिकल हो जाते हैं, जैसे कि ये लास्ट क्वेश्चन में देखा 23 का ही था, राइट? कई बार हम, राइट, मोस्टली हमने देखा है कि यहाँ पर क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन बन जाती है जब टोटल टाइम दिया होता है, तो यहाँ पर थोड़ा सा मैथमेटिकल वर्किंग की जरूरत पड़ती है. हमने देखा है कि, राइट, इन आवर प्रीवियस सेशंस वी हैव सीन हाउ वी यूज रेशियो अप्रोच easily to get through the questions, but sometimes, they force you with these, math ही questions, right? So that's the way. तभी मैंने कहा ये टॉपिक थोड़ा सा वास्ट है, टीएसडी, राइट? So with that I'll leave you and we'll soon meet again next time, right? So see you next time. All the best, keep up with the practice. Thank you, people. Thank you.